Hey there, Dr. Mike here. What if I told you that something you're eating right now could be sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster that's aging you faster and potentially leading to diabetes? And what if I also told you that there are 5 powerful foods sitting in most grocery stores that could help stabilize that blood sugar naturally? You know, every day in my practice, I see patients who are shocked when they discover how their favorite foods have been silently damaging their health for years. But today, I'm going to share something different. Something that could literally transform your relationship with food and potentially help you control your diabetes naturally. These 5 powerful foods I'm about to reveal have been backed by serious scientific research. I've seen them work wonders for my own patients in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who thought they'd be stuck taking medication forever. So if you or someone you love is dealing with high blood sugar or diabetes, the next few minutes might be the most important information you hear this year. And make sure you stay until the end, because the last food on my list surprised even me when I first discovered its potent effects on blood sugar. The blood sugar crisis nobody's talking about. Before I reveal these powerful foods, let's talk about what's really happening in your body when blood sugar goes haywire. When you eat carbohydrates, your body breaks them down into glucose, sugar that enters your bloodstream. Your pancreas then releases insulin, which helps that glucose enter your cells where it's used for energy. But here's where things often go wrong. When we constantly flood our systems with processed foods, sugary drinks, and simple carbs, we're forcing our pancreas to pump out insulin constantly. Eventually, our cells become resistant to that insulin. They stop listening to its signal. This is called insulin resistance, and it's the precursor to type 2 diabetes. Your blood sugar levels start to climb higher and stay elevated longer. And this isn't just about diabetes. Chronically high blood sugar accelerates aging, damages blood vessels, increases inflammation, and can lead to heart disease, vision problems, kidney damage, and more. I remember working with Martha, a 68-year-old grandmother who came to me with fatigue, blurry vision, and thirst that wouldn't quit. Her A1C was 8.2, well into the diabetic range. She was terrified of ending up like her mother, who had lost her sight and eventually a foot to diabetic complications. But here's the good news. Martha made some profound changes to her diet, including adding the 5 foods I'm about to share with you. 6 months later, her A1C was down to 6.1, nearly in the normal range. Her energy was back, and for the first time in years, she could get down on the floor to play with her grandkids and get back up without help. So let's dive into these 5 powerful foods that can help you take control of your blood sugar naturally. Food number 1. Cinnamon, nature's blood sugar regulator. Let's start with something that might already be in your spice cabinet: cinnamon. This isn't just a delicious addition to your morning coffee or oatmeal. It's a powerful metabolic support supplement disguised as a common spice. What makes cinnamon so effective for blood sugar control? It contains compounds that act in multiple ways to improve insulin sensitivity and lower blood glucose. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics reviewed 16 studies and found that cinnamon consumption was associated with a significant decrease in fasting blood glucose. Another study in the journal Diabetes Care found that consuming just 1 gram of cinnamon daily for 40 days reduced fasting blood glucose by 18 to 29%, triglycerides by 23 to 30%, and LDL cholesterol by 7 to 27%. The active compound in cinnamon, called methyl hydroxycone polymer, MHCP, mimics insulin, activates insulin receptors, and works synergistically with insulin in cells. It's like giving your body's natural insulin a boost, making it work more efficiently. Here's how I recommend incorporating cinnamon into your daily routine. Add 1/2 teaspoon to your morning coffee or tea. Sprinkle it on oatmeal, yogurt, or cottage cheese. Mix it into a protein shake. Make a cinnamon tea by steeping a cinnamon stick in hot water. Important note, there are 2 main types of cinnamon available commercially: Ceylon cinnamon, often called true cinnamon, and cassia cinnamon, the more common variety found in grocery stores. For blood sugar benefits, studies have shown that both types work, but Ceylon cinnamon contains less coumarin, a compound that may cause liver damage in large amounts. If you plan to consume cinnamon daily, Ceylon is the safer choice. My patient Robert, a 72-year-old retired teacher with prediabetes, started adding just half a teaspoon of cinnamon to his morning routine. After 3 months, his fasting blood sugar had dropped from 115 milligrams per deciliter to 98 milligrams per deciliter. Not a miracle, but a significant improvement from such a simple change. Food number 2. Berries, the sweet solution to blood sugar spikes. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait, Dr. Mike, aren't berries full of sugar? How can they help control blood sugar? This is exactly where most people get confused. While berries do contain natural sugars, they're also packed with something that makes all the difference: soluble fiber and powerful plant compounds called polyphenol. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries all have impressively low glycemic indexes compared to other fruits. This means they cause a much slower, gentler rise in blood sugar rather than a spike. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that consuming berries with a high carbohydrate meal significantly reduced the post-meal blood glucose spike. The researchers attributed this to anthocyanins, the compounds that give berries their vibrant colors. These anthocyanins appear to inhibit certain digestive enzymes, slowing down the conversion of starches to sugars. They also seem to stimulate insulin secretion and improve insulin sensitivity in cells. But there's more. Berries are also rich in fiber, particularly soluble fiber, which forms a gel-like substance in your digestive tract. This slows down the absorption of sugars into your bloodstream, preventing those dangerous blood sugar spikes. Here's how to make berries part of your blood sugar management strategy. Add half a cup of fresh or frozen berries to your breakfast. Keep frozen berries on hand for a quick snack. They taste like little popsicles. Blend them into a low-sugar smoothie with protein powder and unsweetened almond milk. Use them as a natural sweetener in plain yogurt instead of honey or maple syrup. One interesting case I remember is Doris, a 65-year-old who had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 5 years earlier. She had a serious sweet tooth and would often give in to cravings for candy or cookies in the evening. We worked on replacing her nightly sweet treats with a small bowl of mixed berries topped with a dollop of unsweetened Greek yogurt and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Not only did this satisfy her sweet cravings, but her evening blood sugar readings improved significantly. After a few months of making this and other dietary changes, her doctor was able to reduce her medication dosage. Hey, before I continue with the next powerful food, if you're finding this information helpful, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, drop a comment below telling me what your biggest challenge is when it comes to managing your blood sugar. I read all your comments and use them to create future videos that address your specific needs. Alright, let's keep going with our list of blood sugar balancing foods. Food number 3. Fatty fish, omega-3s for insulin sensitivity. The third powerful food for blood sugar control might surprise you. It's fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring. These fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which play a crucial role in reducing inflammation and improving how your body responds to insulin. Chronic inflammation is closely linked to insulin resistance, so addressing inflammation is key for anyone concerned about blood sugar. A study published in the journal Molecular and Cellular Endocrinology found that omega-3 fatty acids help increase the production of a hormone called adiponectin, which improves insulin sensitivity and helps regulate blood glucose levels. Another study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that people who regularly consumed fatty fish had lower post-meal glucose spikes and improved overall glucose tolerance. Beyond the omega-3 benefits, fatty fish provides high-quality protein, which is another essential nutrient for stable blood sugar. Protein digests slowly and has minimal impact on blood glucose levels while helping you feel full longer. I recommend aiming for 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week. Here are some simple ways to include more in your diet. Bake salmon with lemon and herbs for dinner. Add canned sardines to a salad. Make a quick lunch with canned wild-caught salmon. Try smoked mackerel with avocado on low-carb crackers. One of my favorite patient success stories involves James, a 70-year-old with a 15-year history of type 2 diabetes. His blood sugar was reasonably controlled with medication, but he still experienced fatigue and some nerve pain in his feet. When we reviewed his diet, I noticed he rarely ate fish, maybe once every few months. He wasn't opposed to it, it just wasn't part of his regular meal rotation. We worked it into his meal plan twice weekly, and within 3 months, his fasting blood sugar improved, and interestingly, he reported less tingling and numbness in his feet. His neurologist confirmed improvement in his diabetic neuropathy symptoms. While we can't attribute this solely to adding fish to his diet, the anti-inflammatory effects of omega-3s likely played a significant role. Food number 4. Legumes, the blood sugar balancing act. Our fourth powerful food category is legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, and peas. These unassuming foods are nutritional powerhouses when it comes to blood sugar management. Legumes contain a special combination of soluble fiber and resistant starch that creates what I call the blood sugar balancing act. When you eat legumes, the soluble fiber forms a gel in your digestive tract that slows down carbohydrate absorption, preventing blood sugar spikes. Meanwhile, resistant starch passes undigested through your small intestine and is fermented by beneficial bacteria in your colon. This fermentation process produces short-chain fatty acids that improve insulin sensitivity and even help reduce insulin resistance in future meals, a phenomenon called the second meal effect. A review published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition analyzed 41 studies and concluded that adding legumes to the diet improves both blood glucose control and insulin sensitivity in people with and without diabetes. Another impressive study from the Archives of Internal Medicine followed more than 3,000 people at high risk for cardiovascular disease. Those who consumed legumes at least 4 times per week had a 35% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who consumed them less than once weekly. Here are some practical ways to incorporate more legumes into your meals. Add lentils to soups and stews. Mix black beans into ground beef for tacos to reduce the carb-to-protein ratio. Use chickpeas in salads. Try hummus with raw vegetables as a snack. Experiment with bean-based pasta for a higher protein, higher fiber alternative. I often share the story of Eleanor, a 67-year-old patient whose blood sugar would spike dramatically after meals, sometimes reaching 200 milligrams per deciliter or higher. We worked on redesigning her meals to always include a source of legumes. For instance, instead of having a sandwich on white bread for lunch, she switched to a chickpea and vegetable salad with olive oil dressing. Within weeks, her post-meal blood sugar readings rarely exceeded 140 milligrams per deciliter, a dramatic improvement. After 6 months of these types of changes, her A1C dropped from 7.8% to 6.5%. One important tip: if you're not used to eating legumes regularly, introduce them gradually to give your digestive system time to adjust. Start with smaller portions, perhaps a quarter cup, and slowly increase to half a cup servings. Food number 5. Extra virgin olive oil, the Mediterranean secret. The fifth and final powerful food for blood sugar control is extra virgin olive oil, a cornerstone of the Mediterranean diet, which is consistently shown to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce risk of type 2 diabetes. Olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats, particularly oleic acid, which has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity at the cellular level. But what makes extra virgin olive oil especially beneficial is its high content of polyphenol, powerful antioxidant compounds. A landmark study published in the journal Diabetes Care found that adding extra virgin olive oil to a meal reduced blood sugar spikes after eating compared to the same meal with other types of fat. Another study in the journal Nutrition and Diabetes showed that consuming olive oil with a meal reduced oxidative damage caused by high blood sugar. One of olive oil's most fascinating benefits involves its effect on GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1, a hormone that stimulates insulin secretion and inhibits glucagon release, helping to lower blood glucose. Research has shown that the oleocanthal in olive oil stimulates GLP-1 secretion. To get the most benefit from olive oil for blood sugar control, use it as your primary cooking oil for low to medium heat cooking. Drizzle it over vegetables before roasting. Make homemade salad dressings with extra virgin olive oil and vinegar. Add a tablespoon to smoothies for creaminess, you won't taste it. Replace butter with olive oil when making scrambled eggs. A quality note: look for olive oil in dark bottles labeled extra virgin and ideally with a harvest date. Many oils labeled as olive oil are diluted with cheaper oils or are lower quality olive oils that don't contain the beneficial compounds that help with blood sugar. I remember working with Gerald, a 74-year-old with pre-diabetes who was resistant to changing his diet. He loved his fried foods and wasn't willing to give up many of his favorite meals. We started with one simple change: switching from his usual vegetable oil to extra virgin olive oil for cooking and adding it to foods he already enjoyed. Even with this modest change, along with some basic carbohydrate portion control, his fasting blood glucose improved over 3 months. This gave him the motivation to make additional changes to his diet. Putting it all together: your blood sugar control plan. Now that we've covered these 5 powerful foods for blood sugar control, let's talk about how to incorporate them into your daily routine for maximum benefit. The key is consistency. Rather than making radical changes all at once, focus on gradually incorporating these foods into your existing meal patterns. Here's a simple daily plan that incorporates all 5 blood sugar controlling foods. Breakfast: a Greek yogurt with berries and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Or eggs cooked in olive oil with vegetables. Lunch: a large salad with leafy greens, chickpeas, olive oil dressing. Or lentil soup with a side salad. Dinner: a baked salmon with roasted vegetables drizzled with olive oil. Or bean and vegetable chili topped with a dollop of Greek yogurt and cinnamon. Snacks: a small handful of berries. Or hummus with vegetable sticks. Remember, these foods work best as part of an overall approach to blood sugar management that includes: 1. Limiting refined carbohydrates and added sugars. 2. Getting regular physical activity, even just walking after meals can make a huge difference. 3. Managing stress, which can raise blood sugar independently of diet. 4. Getting adequate sleep, as sleep deprivation increases insulin resistance. One of the most remarkable things about using food as medicine is that the benefits extend far beyond blood sugar control. The same foods that help stabilize your glucose also reduce inflammation, support heart health, improve digestion, and even enhance brain function. Many of my patients report not just better blood sugar readings, but more energy, clearer thinking, better mood, improved digestion, and reduced joint pain when they incorporate these foods regularly. The commitment that changes everything. I've worked with hundreds of patients over my career, and I've noticed something interesting. Those who approach these dietary changes as short-term fixes rarely see lasting improvements in their health. But those who commit to making these foods a regular part of their lifestyle often experience transformative results. Take Margaret, for example. When she first came to see me at age 71, she had been living with type 2 diabetes for over a decade. Her A1C was stubbornly high at 8.7% despite taking 2 medications. She suffered from frequent urinary tract infections, persistent fatigue, and was beginning to show signs of diabetic retinopathy. Margaret didn't just dabble with the dietary changes we discussed, she committed fully. She stocked her kitchen with berries, legumes, olive oil, cinnamon, and started preparing salmon twice weekly. She kept a food journal and meticulously tracked her blood sugar to see how different meals affected her readings. Within 3 months, her fasting blood sugar had dropped from the 160 to 180 range to consistently under 130. After 6 months, her A1C was down to 7.2%. After a year of consistent effort, her A1C reached 6.4%, nearly in the normal range, and her doctor was able to reduce one of her medications. Even more importantly, Margaret's energy returned, Her recurring infection stopped, and her ophthalmologist noted that her retinopathy hadn't progressed. At 73, she now volunteers at a local school, tends her garden daily, and plays with her great-grandchildren with an energy that surprises even herself. Margaret's story isn't unusual among those who fully commit to these changes. The human body has a remarkable capacity to heal when given the right tools. A personal note from Dr. Mike. Before we wrap up, I want to share something personal. When I first started practicing medicine over 20 years ago, I approached diabetes like most doctors, primarily with medication management. I would briefly mention diet and exercise, but I didn't emphasize their importance or provide specific guidance. Everything changed when my own father was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at age 60. Watching him struggle with the diagnosis and seeing the limited nutritional guidance he received from his healthcare team was a wake-up call for me. I dove deep into the research on nutritional approaches to blood sugar management and began implementing these strategies with my patients. The results were so dramatic that it transformed how I practice medicine. Today, I still prescribe medications when necessary. They're important tools in our arsenal. But I now know that food is medicine too, and sometimes the most powerful medicine doesn't come in a pill bottle. The 5 foods we've discussed today, cinnamon, berries, fatty fish, legumes, and olive oil, aren't just items on a shopping list. They represent a different way of thinking about your health, one where you have more power than you might realize to influence your blood sugar, your energy, and ultimately, how you age. If you found this information helpful, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up so others can benefit from it too. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these foods are you already eating regularly, and which ones will you try to incorporate more often? Remember, controlling your blood sugar isn't just about avoiding diabetes complications. It's about living with more energy, more clarity, and more joy at any age.